Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa D'Amico. I'm the curator of the Global Garden Virtual Art Exhibit being hosted by the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut. And I have the great pleasure of interviewing Alana Ladson today. Hi, Alana. How are you? Oh, no. There
I'm
you go.
doing well. Thank you so much.
Great. Alana, I love Flowering Beauty. It's a spectacular piece. And I feel like let me tell you this. Let me start off by telling you this. I
Mhm.
selected it because I felt like it was so relatable to everyone who sees it. That I felt like it, depending on the person's point of view, there's a feeling of joy, there's a feeling of peace, but it's all about being surrounded by this nature, and I absolutely adore that. So I want you to actually tell me, to start off with, tell me about your process in terms of creating this piece, the inspiration behind it for you.
You know what? First of all, thank you for your kind words. That I really appreciate it. And it's funny because that is the exact feeling that I was going for with this piece. Peace, joy, calm. Um, I was kind of going through a rough patch in my life and I was feeling very burnt out because, somehow I always end up with a lot to do, which I don't mind and I do mind because then it takes away from my time to do the things that I really like art, because the energy, the want is high, the energy is low. So this was a bit of a comeback to form. And I was sitting there with my canvas, it's 20 by 20, and I would just walk by it every day. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to find time to sit down and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to paint something. And, I just go to sleep. So one day I just said enough is enough. It was a Saturday evening and there were some things that I had wanted to do, some errands that I wanted to run, but I had to stop myself and say, no, you're going to paint. Like, you need to sit down and paint. I had a little prayer session and I sat down and I said to myself, let's just do this. Let's just figure out what we want to put on the canvas. And, because of my burnt out state, I was like, I just want to feel calm and I just want to feel happy and joy. And what I always come back to is flowers and butterflies. Like, just every single time, like almost all of my pieces have some kind of flower in it or some kind of element of nature, flower, butterfly, wind, something. So I came back to flowers, of course, and I started getting into it. I'm like, let me research flower language and see what I can infuse into this piece. But then I stopped myself again. It was like, no, just paint. Just paint the flowers that make you happy. And so that's what I did. And the middle girl is like in, because that's how I wanted to feel.
I want to be that middle girl, and I want everybody to be that middle girl because I feel like, we're so busy in our daily lives that we forget about the beauty of nature that's around us. And just to kind of be in it, sit in it, even if it just means taking a few minutes of the day and having your lunch outside or having, a sit in the park, whatever is available.
And it's funny, I used to do that. Back when we were in person, I would always physically leave the office. And when it was warm out, I'd sit on a bench in the sun and it kind of recharged my battery a little bit. So that connection to nature is very, very real.
I felt like your painting feeds the soul.
Oh my gosh,
And
thank you.
I really, enjoy it. And also what I enjoy about it is your color palette. It's a very
Mhm.
specific palette, um, and you stay within those limits. And I wanted to ask you about your technique on how you actually created this piece. And do you always work in these materials and anything else you want to share with us?
Sure. So it's acrylic on canvas, and I also use some gouache. The colors were absolutely intentional. Pastels are very, very soft, very calming, and I often call them like colors because you often see babies like dressed in like these little light pink or light blue, light green, whatever, what have you. And it's very cute, very calming. So I wanted to use pastels in all of the flowers and then have the girl, you know, who's my skin tone pretty much, kind of be like the center of everything. Like she's the one surrounded and feeling the calm and feeling the joy. So it was very intentional. I tried to kind of put in a few textures and things like that in some of the flowers. Like, you know, I layered paint on just a couple of them, and then again, like I had to look at it and say to myself, no, this is perfect the way it is, and you know, I like the way it's going now, so just leave it alone. And that's part of the process in art, right? Like knowing when your piece is done, it's time to just walk away, leave it alone. And you know, maybe in some years I'll be like, you know what, I actually do want to come back to this, and I'll make it a little bit different because, you know, now I'm different, and that's what time does to us. But right now I'm like, I'm happy with this, let's leave it alone. But yeah, I sat on my room floor, I painted it in some days, and I sat there, I watched cartoons while I did it. Like I would look up because my TV is a little bit higher when I'm on the floor. So I'd look up, I'd watch the TV a little bit, laugh, and then just get back to painting. And that was like my pattern.
It worked, and it worked so beautifully. Alana, thank you so much for this interview. And I really would love for everyone to see your painting. Please go to cawct.org. I'll also post Alana's information so you can follow her on her colorful and beautiful artistic journey. Alana, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Lisa. Thank you.